I'm 5 months away from being 24 and almost a quarter of a century old. And in celebration of me feeling old, I'm gonna talk about 23 things that I've learned as a 23-year-old. As with all life lesson videos, some things are gonna be very corny, some things are only gonna apply to me, and most things are not gonna apply to you. Number 1, first impression / start is very important. Regardless of if it's a job, a relationship, a friendship, or a video, the first thing you say, the first thing you do, the first thing that you act upon in front of that person, job, occupation, being video, will set a certain level of standard for who you are to that person, to that job, and have that entity project whatever they first saw onto your future actions. Number 2, always double check things, triple check things all the time before sending it, before using it to do something. I probably learned the skill in investment banking. I used to send things all the time, fast and quick, the first time through. I'm someone that is very impatient, so everything needs to be done immediately, but it truly does not hurt to look at things multiple times, at least 2 times before submitting it. I genuinely think if I knew this at age 5 and applied it to my schooling, I probably would have went to a better school given the number of questions I could have gotten right if I checked it multiple times instead of trying to be the first person that submitted it in class and appear to look smart. Number 3, take care of your looks. And by looks, I mean everything. Overall aesthetics, skin, looking fit, teeth. Obviously, circumstances make if you're busy, if you can't afford a gym, it's harder for you to have healthy foods. Completely understandable. But overall, to the best of your ability, I think it's important to keep your looks the best you can. And I used to think this was the most corny thing ever when people said this, but it's genuinely not for others, it's for you. I've had quite the weight journey in the past year and a half, and I've lost close to 35, maybe 40 pounds from the peak to what I am now. And I just feel better about myself. It feels great when you look down and you could see your feet and you fit in clothes that you haven't been able to in a year and a half. And when you climb stairs, it doesn't hurt to do it. Put on your sunscreen, listen to your mother, brush your teeth, you won't regret it. Number 4, in relation to number 3, no one cares about you as much as you do. I think we're in such a hyper-aware situation right now where we're so aware of what people think of us, how many likes we're getting, how many comments we get, how many DMs we get, how many responses to stories we get, all based off other people's reactions to us, which makes us feel all like mini celebrities or real celebrities. Reality is no one cares about you as much as you do, and maybe no one cares about you to the extent that you think people care about you, period. And if we're more aware of what people think of us, we can never do what we really want to do. Number 5, and this is something that I live by every single day, and people always call me out on it, but you have to love yourself to love others. If you're not comfortable with who you are, I think it shows when you treat others the way that you talk to people because you're so insecure and not okay with yourself. I'm probably taking this over tap, but my wallpaper on my phone, myself. One part of it is for the comic relief, but 2, it's a reminder that I need to be okay with myself, be okay with who I am, to love others. Maybe I love myself too much and that becomes a problem sometimes, but love yourself to love others. Number 6, parents are usually right. They've lived the life that you're about to live before. Obviously, they're of a different generation. I know a lot of millennials and Gen Y people say this is a completely different era. What did they know? But general principles of life remain pretty consistent throughout the years. If a parent says you're probably gonna regret not studying hard versus going out, you're probably gonna regret quitting piano, you're probably gonna regret quitting piano and going out more than studying. I wish I could play more than chopsticks on the piano. Number 7, people don't change. I think we're born in this mold and there is a set sculpture within the mold and you're chipping away at the mold and you're becoming more of yourself rather than changing into someone else. People don't change, don't expect them to. You're probably not gonna change. Just fortify your strength and try to demean your weaknesses, and don't get disappointed when people don't become the people that you want them to be. Number 8, and perhaps the most ironic one out of the 23 that I'm about to mention, stop wasting your time scrolling through YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You're only making other people's wallets fatter, which if you support them, that's fine. Watching my videos, I recommend. But during that time, maybe make your own content. Have fun enriching yourself rather than looking at different TikToks, YouTubes, and Instagrams. You're gonna blink and your screen time's gonna be 5 hours and you quite literally could have done anything else during that time that I think is far more beneficial than you listening to someone talk about the 23 life lessons they learned when they were 23. Number 9, you don't need to respond to texts immediately. I am so guilty of this and I can't stand having notifications. I feel bad when I don't respond in time. I feel anxious. This is probably another side effect of me being in banking. The same way that most of the texts that you send probably don't need to be responded immediately. Most of the texts that you receive don't need to be responded to immediately. If they really needed you, they would call you, or if they really needed you, they would come to you in person. Number 10, California is the best. Number 11, Every objective aspect of your life, job, family, friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, money, being good does not mean you're actually good. If anything, us being the greedy, selfish, self-aware humans that we are, when objective aspects of our life are good and we are no longer occupied by trying to fulfill those aspects of life, other subjective things start creeping in and you start caring about the smallest things because we are forever seeking this level of perfection that does not exist on Earth. Number 12, it's okay to take breaks. I think that this channel often presents this false portrayal of myself, that I'm always this hard-going person that's cranking out YouTube videos, working a full-time job, maintaining all these balances. I fool around all the time. There's countless times where I'm just sitting on that couch, scrolling through Instagram and YouTube. I don't do TikTok though. But sometimes you need a break, and I know that some of the things that I'm talking about counter each other, but right now, everyone is so much about success and getting out there, having multiple streams of income, competing with each other, getting ahead of others. It's a rat race. But you can't compete 24/7. You're gonna compete better in the races that you care about if you rest. Number 13, if your friends aren't improving / changing / updating, you probably aren't either. I do not mean go out there, purposefully find new friends that make you feel like you're succeeding or cooler. That is toxic behavior. But if you notice that the people around you aren't getting better at what they're doing / progressing in their life, and you feel like those around you are staying pretty consistent from when they were 14, but you're now 23, you're probably also one of them and also not improving yourself. I think it's important to be aware of the people that you surround yourself with because it's probably a good reflection of what you're up to. Number 14, don't talk too much. It never hurts to listen. Very hypocritical of me because all I like to do is talk and I suck at listening sometimes, most of the time. But the more I think about it, you only have more to lose the more you talk. People that like talking typically like talking about themselves. The more you show off yourself, the more you talk about yourself, you're bound to make more mistakes. You're bound to expose things that you probably shouldn't be exposed. Be careful with what you say. Be careful with how much you talk. Be careful with how much you're talking to. There's 2 ears and 1 mouth. Number 15, many things come as you're not actively pursuing it. I've learned throughout my 23 years of life that whenever I actively pursue something, it doesn't necessarily go my way. But a lot of times when I'm sitting back and trying to work on myself and doing what I've always been doing, things come my way and opportunities naturally present themselves. And I'm not talking solely about jobs or career opportunities. I'm even talking about relationships. Few relationships that I've been in weren't a product of me actively pursuing them or thinking I need a girlfriend, therefore I'm gonna get one. I think I was just doing myself and people happened to come into my life. Number 16, especially as you start making money, figure out what level of spending you're okay with. I think different people like spending money in different ways, and that's okay, as long as you figure out what you wanna spend money on and how much money you spend comfortably on those things. For example, I like buying food for people. It makes me feel cool as an arrogant human being. I just like the idea of sharing food with people, and if money is an issue for them, if me paying a couple dollars more for them to eat, but I get to spend that time with them breaking bread, that's worth it. On the other hand, I don't care about shoes. My brother cares a lot about shoes. He has a lot of Jordans, a lot of Yeezys. But if you're someone that loves shoes and buying a $300 pair of shoes is far more important to you than buying nice food for other people, then that is what you're comfortable with. I think recognizing what you're okay spending money on and then locking onto that idea so you don't feel guilty whenever you spend more money on things allows you to have healthy spending habits and allows you to budget better and be okay with spending whatever you're spending. Number 17, actively reach out to those that you keep saying you've been meaning to reach out / grab a meal with because they're probably happy to do it too. Number 18, just because everyone now is a professional golfer, a professional trade broker, an entrepreneur, and an influencer, the fact that you're not one of those things or any of those things does not mean you're not successful or keeping up with the times. The 4 things I just mentioned are all things that are easy to do during COVID / the only things to do during COVID, which is why everyone took on them. It seems like everyone's doing all 4 of those things very successfully. Reality is, I don't think anyone's doing any of those things successfully. It's good to have hobbies, it's good to have multiple streams of income. I'm sure there is someone out there that's doing golfing, running a business, trading stocks, and creating content very successfully. But just because you're not doing one or all of those things doesn't mean you're behind on the times. You probably have other cool things that you're working on. Number 19, when you feel like bad things just happen to you all the time, it's probably most definitely not happening to you just all the time. My one anecdote example of this is me at airports during college. I would always fly from California to Virginia, from Virginia to California, obviously never in one flight. There would be layovers. There will always be a flight delay. There will always be flight cancellations. I once had this time during the snowmageddon of my freshman or sophomore year where I spent 27 hours to get from one coast to the other. And I thought, why do these things always happen to me? And one day I looked around and I realized I was not the only person on this flight, and there was always hundreds of people on all these flights that were delayed and canceled, and probably thousands nationwide that encounter this every day. When you go through something that sucks, remind yourself that you're probably, definitely, 100% not the only person that goes through it. Number 20, reading books makes you look smart, feel smart, and actually smart. Number 21, take pictures with family and friends instead of food. As soon as a meal comes out, they get their camera out and go like this. There's probably a better, higher quality picture on Google Images of that exact dish that your iPhone 12 camera is not capable of taking. I understand that people want to tell other people that they're eating something good. I know that people want to brag that they're at this restaurant when others aren't not. I've done those things. I will continue to do those things. But I did realize finally, after being 23, why parents say, guys, let's take a picture here when we're on vacation. I used to hate it. I used to always say, when are we ever gonna look at these pictures? But perhaps I'm getting old too quick, and perhaps I love seeing myself in pictures, but one of my favorite pastime activities recently has been going on Google Photos, and there's a lot of 4 years ago, 3 years ago memory reflections. Man, I wish I took more pictures with people so that I can remember and treasure and reflect what happened during that time. If possible, take video too. Number 22, seek discomfort, but also enjoy comfort. I don't think people improve or get better unless they're uncomfortable. Reflecting back on my 23 years of life, the moments that I grew the most, the moments I became better, the periods of time where I found myself to ever improve in ways that I wouldn't have been able to improve otherwise, are times that I've been uncomfortable. The beginning of college, the beginning of my job, when I first started doing YouTube. Different moments where you feel like you're bumping heads, you're always feeling like there's an obstacle ahead, and you're learning to deal with those obstacles and learning persistence. They often come without you wanting them to come, and those times are the most difficult. But if you find yourself in a pretty comfortable state and you feel like you're not really improving, actively seek discomfort. 23. Don't try to fit other people's life lessons into your own life. Other people's life lessons are a reflection of their life. Your life is yours. You might think that one of the Dakotas are a better state than California. And even though you're wrong, that is your life lesson. And if that helps you in your future, then that is what you should be listening to. And number 24, always under-promise and over-deliver, even if it's by one life lesson. Thanks everyone for watching. I always appreciate everyone's support. I know that I'm all over the place with all this content, but I'm really just enjoying talking about whatever I want to talk about because I love myself in order to love you guys. That's my corny talk for the day. See you guys in the next video. Let's go.